NFL free agency 2026 is just around the corner. The Vikings started off the year with about $40 million over the cap. And oh boy, did Mr. Brzezinski cook. Chef Brzezinski absolutely cooked. He has done an absolutely incredible job in clearing up the Vikings cap space. And they went from about $40 million over the cap, and we now have about $30 million in cap space. So he has made about an $80 million difference. Absolutely incredible work. All the other GMs are playing checkers while Brzezinski is playing five-dimensional, underwater, upside-down Chinese chess. Here is exactly how he did it. We had lots of restructures. We had the TJ Hawkinson restructure, which means he's probably not leaving. So I'm very happy about that, which freed up about $5 million. Jonathan Allen, which freed up about $6.5 million. We released him. Releasing Aaron Jones freed up $7.8 million. Restructuring Christian Darrisaw freed up about $9.2 million. Ryan Kelly retiring freed up $10 million. Javon Hargrave getting released freed up $10.9 million. And Byron Murphy getting restructured freed up $11.3 million. And Justin freaking Jefferson restructured contract $18 million freed up. And this is all within the span of like a week or two. So absolutely incredible work from Mr. Brzezinski. Now that we have answered the question of how we got here, we're going to look into the very near future and see what the Vikings could potentially use that roughly $30 million for. First, let's look at one of our bigger needs, the running back position. Right now, the only running backs we have on the roster are Jordan Mason and Xavier Scott. Jordan Mason, he was pretty good last year. He didn't put up the biggest stats. He had 159 carries for 758 rushing yards with an average of 4.8 yards per carry and 6 rushing touchdowns. Like I said, not the best season statistical-wise, but when he was on the field, he looked great. Some notable free agent running backs include guys like Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, Najee Harris, Rico Dowdle, J.K. Dobbins, Raheem Mostert, Rashad White, Brian Robinson Jr., Isaiah Pacheco, A.J. Dillon, Jerome Ford, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, and Antonio Gibson. Now, Jordan Mason was not very good at pass blocking last year. We need a running back who is good at pass blocking, but we also are in need of an elusive running back. Aaron Jones was kind of that guy last year. He was kind of the all-around guy. Jordan Mason is a powerhouse. We need an elusive guy, but also someone who can pass block. I would love to have a guy like Travis Etienne or Kenneth Walker. I think those would both be phenomenal options. Kenneth Walker, I believe, was the highest graded running back in 2025 based off of PFF grade. And I'm not really educated on how good running backs are at pass blocking, but considering he's one of the best running backs in the league, I'm guessing he's considered pretty good at pass blocking. And oh boy, is he fast and elusive. He ran a 4.38 40-yard dash at the 2022 NFL Combine. Very young, only 25 years old, and he is just an absolute beast. Kenneth Walker would definitely be my favorite to go to for the Vikings to get. I would absolutely love if they got Kenneth Walker. Another guy I really like is Isaiah Pacheco. He is a fun player to watch, and I really like him, and I would absolutely not mind if the Vikings got Isaiah Pacheco. And he was even faster than Kenneth Walker at a 4.37 40-yard dash in the same year in the Combine. Not sure if he's that great of a pass blocker. He's not a very big guy. But I think these are two guys that the Vikings should be absolutely shooting for. Let's talk about safety. Now, we currently have Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus. Those are our two main safeties. And Jay Ward, who has a lot of potential, and I would like to see him get more snaps. However, even if we do have him, Metellus likes to play all over the place, so we need two other good safeties to play safety so Metellus can do his thing and move around. We had that with Harrison Smith and Cam Beasley, movie and all that stuff. I miss Cam Bynum. He was so much fun. But we had that when we had both Cam Bynum and Harrison Smith. Last season, we did not have Cam Bynum. Josh Metellus had to play more actual safety. And yes, he's good at that, but he's even better when he's able to move around all over the place. And it's not confirmed that Harrison Smith is retiring. They had that whole ceremony type thing at the end of the Packers game at the end of last season. But Harrison Smith said his future is still up in the air and he doesn't know for sure if he's going to retire or not. So while it is still possible we have Harrison Smith next season, which would be great, we need a safety who can be mentored by Harrison Smith and Josh Metellus so that when Harrison Smith does retire, then he can shine. And that was supposed to be Lewis Cine, however, that did not end up working out. Now, there aren't really any notable free agent safeties this year, so that's where we pivot our head to the 2026 NFL Draft. Here's a look at the top 5 ranked safeties in said draft. We have Caleb Downs from Ohio State, Dylan Thieneman from Oregon, A.J. Halsey from LSU, Emmanuel McNeil Warren from Toledo, and Michael Taffet from Texas. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've never really been the type of guy who, is super in-depth and researches college players in the NFL draft. I don't really watch college football, but this year I am going to try to change that. So I am not going to pretend to be an expert at this because the last thing I want to do is lie to you guys. So you let me know what you think the Vikings should do when it comes to safety in the draft, but based off of my short research, I think Caleb Downs does sound like a great option. He comes in at 6 feet tall. He ran a 4.45 40. Comes in at a young 21 years old. And when thrown at, he has a 55.0 quarterback rating. Now, the only issue with this is he's projected to go in the top 5. Now, the good news for that is, that's not for me to figure out. That's for Rob Brzezinski to figure out. He is very aggressive and sometimes goes for the highlight reel play instead of just securing the tackle. He is very risky and goes for interceptions, jumps routes, and I absolutely love the sound of that. An aggressive corner who goes for the big play. Is it a very risky play style? Yes, but when it pays off big. So I would love to see the Vikings acquire Caleb Downs. Let's talk about defensive tackle. And before you start screaming at me, yes, I know that Jonathan Grenard is not a defensive tackle. Jonathan Grenard has requested a trade. So what I'm thinking, there's not any real studs in free agency when it comes to defensive tackle. So maybe we can trade Grenard and get a defensive tackle in return. The only free agent one I wouldn't really mind having is Daquan Jones, who had 3 sacks, 15 tackles, solo tackles, and a forced fumble last year. But I think there's better options. This is who I really want, though. Dexter Lawrence. I do think it is a little less likely now than it has been for like the past year or two. The Vikings have been rumored to trade for Dexter Lawrence for like a year or two. Because they have Jackson Dart and Cam Scatabo now and Malik Neighbors. So I think it's a little less likely. But, however, if we trade Jonathan Grenard over there and get Dexter Lawrence in return, oh my God. Dexter Lawrence and Jalen Redmond on the same team. Oh, don't make me bust like that, bro. I would love it. 2 big, meaty men who combine to like 600 pounds right in front of Garrett Bradbury twice a year, plowing through him, getting all over that ass of Caleb Williams. and every other team that steps in their way, tell me this would not be absolutely incredible. Yes, it's not going to be easy. Hell, I think a trade straight up Jonathan Grenard for Dexter Lawrence. Maybe the Vikings throw in like a second or third round pick. Boom. I think we got Dexter Lawrence on the team. We currently have the Vikings 2026 draft picks. They have their own first, second, third round picks. Projected compensatory third round pick, projected fourth round pick, a fifth round pick, projected fifth round pick, and the Vikings' current draft picks are 1, 2, 3 are all their own picks. 3 and 4 we have projected compensatory picks. We have our own fifth round pick, a compensatory fifth round pick, another fifth round pick, a sixth round pick, and 3 seventh round picks. So we got plenty of cash to spend. Dexter Lawrence would be an absolute game changer. This defense was one of the best in the league last year. And if you have an incredible defensive interior with guys like Andrew Van Ginkel and Dallas Turner on the outside, oh my God. Oh! Now let's talk about the center position. Now, unfortunately, Ryan Kelly, who was only able to play 2 games in the entirety of the 2025 NFL season due to concussions, he ended up retiring this week. I believe it might have even been yesterday, at just 32 years old. When he was on the field, I mean, he was good, but just unfortunate injuries, ruined his career. So we obviously are going to need a replacement, and there's only one person that I want. And that is former Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum. He is the top free agent center this year in 2026, and it is not even close. One of, if not the best center in the league. And this would complete the offensive line as long as it can stay healthy. Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Tyler Linderbaum, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill. That would be incredible, and whoever's playing quarterback would be in great shape as long as they can stay healthy and not have a repeat of last year. I'm going to keep this one short and simple. We need Tyler Linderbaum, nobody else. Throw all your money at him, please. We better be throwing so much money at him that people think he's a male stripper because of how much money is getting thrown at him. That's how much money Brzezinski needs to throw and shove directly up his ass. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about the quarterback position. Currently, the quarterback is J.J. 9 McCarthy. Before I talk about who we could bring in to be competition for him, I'm going to say, I've said this once, I'll say it again. I'll say it over and over. I am not ready to give up on J.J. McCarthy. He was ass the first 13 weeks of the season, except maybe a few exceptions with some bright spots here and there. Those last 4 or 5 games of the season, whatever it was, I think it was 5, he looked great. Kevin O'Connell started simplifying the playbook, started running the ball more, and we saw notable differences and went on a nice winning streak. We even had a blowout in there against the Commanders. Yes, it's the Commanders, but it's still an NFL team that we blew out. So I'm not ready to give up on J.J. McCarthy, but if he continues to be ass for more games after a full offseason of getting the mental reps, the physical reps, spending time with Kevin O'Connell, all the coaching, all everything, if he is still bad and is the same as last year, I will be ready to give up on him, but that has not happened yet. Kyler Murray, the absolute picture-perfect option. He is extremely similar to J.J. McCarthy, and that is exactly what you want as a Vikings fan. You want a quarterback who you don't have to completely change the playbook if you have to substitute him in. Like, if you have Kirk Cousins and J.J. McCarthy, completely different quarterbacks, the whole playbook changes. You can't do RPOs, read options, anything like that. Kirk Cousins, when that ball is snapped, he ain't moving. He ain't going nowhere. J.J. McCarthy, can do read options. He can scramble. He can go out there and run a guy over. He can be tough and physical. Kirk Cousins is not that guy. Maybe if he's Kirko Chains, but Kirko Chains does not come out very often. At least not at this point in his career. So if there's no Kirko Chains, then I don't want Kirk Cousins. But Kyler Murray can scramble, he can throw the ball, he can whip it deep, he can do everything that J.J. McCarthy can do, and they're very similar, so you wouldn't have to change the playbook whatsoever if you signed Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray obviously grew up a Vikings fan, and he is heavily, heavily rumored to be signed by the Vikings, and justifiably so. I want Kyler Murray as the quarterback competition for J.J. McCarthy. It's a perfect fit. I already went over why. Just like J.J. McCarthy, he's agile. He can throw the ball far. He is probably more accurate than J.J. McCarthy. However, I will say last season, J.J. McCarthy, even with all those sails to the sideline and the bad throws he had a couple absolute dimes. But accuracy is obviously an issue with J.J. McCarthy, but accuracy can be trained and can be fixed. What can't be trained is the it factor that J.J. McCarthy has. But I think Kyler Murray is the perfect option to bring quarterback competition for J.J. McCarthy. Let me know what you think, though. Thank you so much for watching. Check out another video on the screen if you'd like. Like and subscribe if you want. And Skol